What is up, guys? And we are back for this Tuesday's edition of this podcast. What's up? I am G,
I'm DT.
and today we're going to go over the Monday Night Football games, our teams of the week, and the week are rookies that stood out this year on the offense and defensive side, our offensive defensive MVPs. Maybe we'll talk about a little bit something else also. We never know. But remember to like and subscribe to this channel so you can get all your G and DT podcast needs. Like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. Now let's just get straight to it, DT. Steelers, Bengals. Bengals win 20-10. I said this game was going to be 14-6, and it was going to be a low-scoring game. You had the Steelers winning. I had the Bengals winning, but I really threw both these teams under the bus. What did you see in this game?
Well, I figured a Mike Tomlin-led football team would come out there prepared, ready to go, and try to avoid an 0-2 start. However, the Bengals came out there, played some great defense. Giovanni Bernard, their rookie running back, first running back taken off the board, by the way, this year. 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving, 1 running. Ike Taylor played great defense on A.J. Green, but you know what? Andy Dalton utilized all the rest of his weapons. Yeah, Mohamed Sanu, Gresham, Eifert, Bernard, as I mentioned, all making contributions to this football team. Steelers couldn't really get a run game going. They don't really have any threats outside of Antonio Brown, it seems like. They just overall didn't have a good game for the second week in a row. I think Steelers fans should be scared right now. They have no offense whatsoever.
Yeah, I threw this team under the bus for very good reasons. I did not like their offensive line. David DeCastro is their best offensive lineman they have, and that's because of the injury to Mike Pouncey or Marquise Pouncey, whatever, one of the twins, and that's going to really hurt them. He's a very great center in this league, but outside of them, they don't even have good tackles to block for this team, not a good left guard either. I mean, David DeCastro remember, this is his first season because he was out all of last season as a rookie with an injury. Their running backs are just garbage, and their best running back is a rookie running back, and I doubt that's going to give them a change of pace, even though I do like Le'Veon Bell. They're going to miss Mike Tomlin a lot. They're going to miss Mike Wallace a lot because I saw that Ben Roethlisberger was throwing deep to Emmanuel Sanders, and Emmanuel Sanders is not as fast as Mike Wallace, and you pointed out to me if the offensive line can really protect Ben Roethlisberger a lot. So he makes plays by running around and, opening up. And you said that if Mike Wallace was there, he would open up and he would actually get open during these plays. And I think you're completely correct about that. Don't you think so?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Mike Wallace also has a size advantage on most of these corners out here. He's more athletic than just about anybody in this Bengals secondary. I think he scores at least 1 touchdown if he's still with the Steelers tonight. Or last night.
Yeah, it was a very sloppy, kind of boring-ish kind of game. I think only if you watch it if you're a Steelers fan or a Bengals fan. Other than that, I'm just looking at the AFC North, and I just think whatever team wins this division is going one and done in the playoffs, whether it's the Bengals, Ravens, or Steelers. And I don't even think I have the Steelers, Ravens, or Browns having a winning season in my predictions at the end of this year. I think all the AFC North teams are going to do very terrible. Bengals are going to get the number 1 seed out of that division and just go one and done in the playoffs, or maybe upset a team, but that's highly unlikely.
That is a very bold statement. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger is proven time and time again, no matter if it's a quick start, no matter if it's a slow start, they're going to win football games. I don't see Ben Roethlisberger and his Steelers football team losing more than 8 games. No, they at least finish 500.
Maybe 500, but that's still not a winning season. And I think Todd Haley, him as an offensive coordinator, is really hurting this Pittsburgh Steelers offense. I don't think his play calling or the fact that they had also off-the-field issues. Ben Roethlisberger didn't even like his play calling or his, playbook, and they really weren't even on page during mandatory practices in the offseason, but that's yet to be seen. I think there's a rookie wide receiver they need to give a chance, and I think he's faster, and I think he would give he will help improve this offense, and I think that's Marcus Wheaton from Oregon State. A lot of people don't really know about him, but when you do know about him, he has speed, and he's a very reliable hands he had at Oregon State. But enough about that Monday night game. I gave this Monday night football performance a D, if anything. It was a close game at that, but, it was a very poor showing from both teams, to be honest.
Yeah. It was a pretty good defensive game for both teams.
James Harrison on his return against the Steelers, 0 tackles and 0 sacks. They held him up. But that Bengals defensive line is pretty scary, to be honest. They have a lot of good playmakers along that defensive line that I like. But that's enough for the final games and our recap of the Monday Night Football game. Now let's go to our teams of the week, which is the best team of this week that we like the most, and the team of the week who was the worst team this week and we think that needs to improve. And we'll give our intake of why this team is the best and why this team is the worst. And we'll tell them the team that's the worst, how can you get better? Now, Darius, what is our team of the week, as in the best team this week?
Well, the best team this week is obviously the Seattle Seahawks. I don't care if they play at home, they had home field advantage. I mean, that defense came out there and held 49ers 3 points. They played dominant. Their secondary is for real. This football team is for real. They're in sync with each other. They're all on the same page. They believe they're the best, like I said. And, they certainly are playing like it.
I agree with you 100%. And yes, the Seattle Seahawks are showing that they're a tough team. And we said this was going to be a big old brawl, this match against Anquan Bolden and Richard Sherman. And that's what we got. We got them fighting against each other, and they were fighting for balls. And Richard Sherman won this battle. Even against Vernon Davis, he won that battle and got a pick off of Colin Kaepernick. But the 49ers, they may take this. They may actually win against them at home, but we don't know. That's also going to be a very good, tough game. I think the Seattle Seahawks are one of the premier, if not the best defense right now in the NFL. I think they have the best defense, all-around defense. Even for having a great defense, to me, the thing that you have to stick out the most is your defensive back crew, and if you have depth at positions, because in the NFL, anybody can get hurt. Injuries happen to about almost anyone, even if you're not injury prone or if you are injury prone. And the Seattle Seahawks have depth at everywhere on the field. From their defensive line, they rotate players in and out like nobody's business. They know how to set up personnel for each team, and also they have depth at the cornerback spot. And Walter Thurman stepped up for injured Browner, and that's going to show up a lot in the playoffs and further in the NFL season. That's our team of the week. And the team of the week for me, I chose the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you already heard my little rant about this team and how they could suffer. But I mean, this team is just just pitiful. Pittsburgh starts with P-I-T. Pitiful starts with P-I-T. This is pitiful. This team was a championship team not too long ago, and their, GM and their ownership of this team is very nice, and everybody loves the Steelers. But I'm sorry, the reign of the Steelers and the Steel Curtain is done. That is done. It's time to move on to a new dynasty. And I don't know who's going to take this new dynasty this year. Is it going to be the Denver Broncos making a run this decade, or is it going to be the Green Bay Packers or any of these teams? We don't know. But the Steelers are done. That division is weak, and they really need to change up and get some better receiving threats out there. I understand Heath Miller's gone, and they just released Mike Wallace because they don't want to give him a paycheck, but I think they're going to suffer big time. Mike Wallace was.
I don't think the Steelers football team is done. Maybe they have a down year, but I think, you give Ben Roethlisberger a weapon or two. You give them another weapon or two, and just like that, they're right back in the mix. Right now, they have nothing to work with. I mean, they have no running game. Offense isn't really clicking. They don't really have very many playmakers. Heath Miller's a pretty good tight end. Antonio Brown, probably the only playmaker they have on this team. Emmanuel Sanders can make plays, but he won't take over a game. They need a game changer on this football team.
Yeah, and they gave him away to the Miami Dolphins. I understand they don't want to pay him big money, but the Steelers organization is the type of organization that never pay any of their players big money. Saw with Santonio Holmes, but I really think that he wasn't that good of a player, to be honest. And you see what he does at the Jets. He doesn't do nothing. But team of the week for me is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just think it's pitiful what they got over there at Pittsburgh. But go Pirates for them, I guess.
That's about it.
What do you have for your...
My team of the week, I'm going to have to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The obvious choice, of course. I got to tell you, last night I had a dream. Tim Tebow won a game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'm serious. I had a dream. He won a game for the Jaguars. Maybe that's a sign. Maybe they need to go out there and get Tim Tebow No run game, no passing game, no nothing. I mean, Tim Tebow in the NFL, when he was given a chance, all he did was win. I mean,
Wait. Say that one more time about Tim Tebow. What does he do?
All he does is win.
All he does is win, guys.
I mean, you know what? Go ahead on and play the music from Skip Bayless or whatever. This guy, took over a 1-4 Broncos team, took them to the playoffs, beat the number 1 defense in the league, Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't care what anybody says about injuries, blah blah blah. He won a playoff game. When he gets his opportunities, he takes advantage of them. I think the Dolphins, that's the best choice. Fans aren't going to be coming to these games anymore. They're going to be wearing brown bags over their head, asking for a change of ownership, change of coaching.
Which they got.
But you know what? It's just going to be more of the same. These quarterbacks aren't going to take the Jaguars anywhere. They have no run game. Offensive line below average. Defense okay. I mean, they have no choice but to bring in Tebow. That's what the fans want. They want some type of entertainment. They want a reason to come to the games. Give them a reason. Sign Tim Tebow.
So, they need entertainment. Tim Tebow doesn't really have the arm throw. He doesn't really have the arm mechanics down. But tell me once again, what does Tim Tebow do?
All he does is win.
What does he do?
All he does is win.
He's a baller. He's a playmaker and a shot caller. In case you didn't know, I got Tebow. He shattered the mold, and all he does is win. All he does is win games. I got Tebow. He shattered the mold, and all he does is win. All he does is win.
Yeah, that's all that matters, right, guys? That you win games.
Exactly. They're 0-2 right now. I mean,
and I'm going to say the same thing for Vince Young. Because all he did was win also at Tennessee. And he proved time and time again that he could actually take his team. I think the thing about both of these players, that they can win games. And that really does all that matters at the end of the game. If you have -1 passing yards, but you help your team win, don't matter. You help the team win. You won the game.
You know what? Trade Blaine Gabbert. Chad Henne, trade him too, I guess. I think they give Chad Henne another week to show what he can do in the offense. Just one more week. They're not going to the playoffs. They know they're not going to the playoffs. Give Chad Henne one more week, see what he does. But you know what? Trade Blaine Gabbert because he's softer than Matt Shaw. And when you're softer than Matt Shaw, you know you have a problem. So you know what? But trade Blaine Gabbert, get a 6 or 7 round pick, whatever they give you for him.
I doubt you can even get a pick from him.
Bring in Tim Tebow and Vince Young. I mean, hey, what's the worst that could happen?
Right? I mean, to me, the Raiders and Jaguars game, that was nothing but the 32nd team playing against the 31st team. And
I think the Raiders are actually in the 20s now.
Like 28? You give them a 28 or something like that?
To my surprise, they're moving on up. This team
looks
like a team.
Put it this way. Okay, the teams they jumped to me, they jumped the Browns. Okay, the Browns were just the 30th best team to me. What other teams do you think they jumped?
I think they jumped. The Panthers are. Oh my Jesus! You know what? The Panthers, the 2 games they lost could win either way. You know what? Never mind that. Let me see. AFC. The Jets. The Jets are not a very good football team.
They're barely winning games or barely hanging in games. I think their defense is really more than what people think they are. I think more than anything, the Jets' offense is just right there with the Jaguars. The only thing that the Jets got with them is Chris Ivory, kind of a running game, and they actually have kind of a quarterback, Geno Smith. But, saying you're an improvement from Blaine Gabbert, that's not really saying a lot. Blaine Gabbert's the worst. There could not be any other quarterback that's worse than him. But now that we got our team of the week out of the way, let's go to MVP of week 1. Who do you got, DT?
My MVP of week 1, offense or defense?
Offense.
I'm going to have to go with Aaron Rodgers. Oh, man, Aaron Rodgers lit up the Redskins defense, as did the Eagles. We know. But you know what? 480 yards. 480 yards is 480 yards. I don't care who you put it up against. That is a huge day. Touchdowns, I don't know how many he had. What was it, 4 or 5?
Yeah, it was about 4 touchdowns, 480 yards, tying a franchise record for yards in a game.
4 touchdown passes. Aaron Rodgers is ridiculous. That's the obvious choice. Ties the franchise record. he had a field day against his defense.
I'm gonna agree with you 100% on that. Aaron Rodgers could have at least thrown for 600 yards this game if he wanted to. He tore up this Redskins defense, which we were highly regarded on. Thought this team was actually going to play really good this season, but we don't know what's going on there with the Redskins defense. Maybe they had a really great year last year, and then all of a sudden they're just dropping off from that. But my defensive MVP of this week, Mario Williams, the ex-Texan. This dude had 5.5 sacks, DT. He's showing up that he's still living up to the number 1 overall pick that he was in 2006 or 2005, that year he was drafted. Mario Williams is a beast, but we already knew that here in Houston. But he's living up to the money he got there at Buffalo. But, people say, oh, he's playing against the Panthers all along. That's not good. 4.5 sacks is 4.5 sacks, guys.
Mario Williams is also my defensive player of the week. 4.5 sacks, unblockable. I mean, when's the last time you seen a 4.5 sack performance? Great performance from Mario Williams. And one thing I've actually noticed, he has more sacks in his career than Vince Young and Reggie Bush do touchdowns combined. I mean,
wow,
great performance.
But granted that Reggie Bush was not really fitting in the right scheme at, the Saints. But that's another topic of discussion. Now let's go to rookies that stood out for us. And I think we both locked in our offensive rookies, and we explained why. We don't really need to go more on that. DT had E.J. Manuel. I had DeAndre Hopkins as our offensive rookies of the week. And me and DT came to a conclusion. We should have picked this rookie last week, but we're going to pick him and we're going to give him love this week. Week 2 defensive rookie of the week, we have...
Eric Reed is also week 1 and week 2 defensive rookie of the week. He's got an interception in both games. Great job, Eric Reed. Got a little bit of concussion. Might be out for the next 2-3 weeks or so.
Yeah, so he won't be in our defensive rookies of the week. But I don't know about this defensive rookie class. I really don't see anybody stepping up that much. Granted, Matt Elam still hasn't won the starting spot there at the Ravens, but I think eventually he does. And I don't know, Eric Reed is just balling out like he did. I mean, it's not like we didn't see this coming. At LSU, he just made nothing but plays for that LSU defense. And he's just making nothing but plays there at the San Francisco 49ers, and he's really stepping up to a team that really does need safety help. I really don't like Whitner back there in coverage because he was exposed during the playoffs, and he gave up critical touchdowns to the Ravens that would have helped the 49ers win that game at least, or at least come back. But that's our defensive rookies of this week, defensive rookie of this week, and our offensive rookie of the week. Now let's just talk about discussions of teams, games that we saw, and any further discussions about how they can improve. And off air, we were going over schedules and also looking at team schedules and what they can do. And let's talk about who has the better chances of going undefeated or a chance of going undefeated this year. Who do you got, DT?
I'm going to have to go with the Broncos and the Seahawks. Seahawks defense keeps playing like that, and Russell Wilson Wilson puts up about 2 or 3. Russell Wilson can just put up 17 points per game. If his lowest output, it could be about 17 points. 2 touchdowns. Maybe a field goal or 2. And the defense plays like they've been playing. I mean, I think they can go undefeated. I think, like I said, the Seahawks are the last great defense in the NFL right now. I think after they're done, it's going to go on over to everybody getting lit up week in and week out. And every now and then a rare great defense performance. As for the Broncos, I really don't see anybody stopping his offense. Maybe you slow it down and beat them by scoring more points. But you better hope the defense has an off day. And when the defense has an off day, you better hope the offense is also having an off day. Because like we've seen in week 1, they're capable of putting up 49 points on you.
All right, I agree with you completely on both those teams. I've ranked them. We haven't really done like an overall ranking of the NFL teams. We'll maybe do that next week or maybe later on this week, maybe tomorrow when we have an off day. But remember, tomorrow is user-submitted questions. You have questions you want us to answer, we'll answer them for you. And we'll shout you out your name and give you a little love on that. But let's talk about an under-the-radar team that you think is making the playoffs this year. I have the Chiefs making a wild card spot this year. And I think they're going to do excellent. Andy Reid is a great coach. Eagles fan base is a terrible fan base, to be honest. They think they're going to win every year, and if their coach loses one game, they already want to fire him. They really are not really realistic, to be honest, but I like Andy Reid there at the Chiefs. He is a great head coach. And I love the weapons that the Chiefs have. Getting Alex Smith is a way better improvement. And I think Andy Reid actually has a future quarterback on his team in Tyler Bray. And I think Andy Reid is going to mature him and, make him, bring him up. And he's actually going to be a successful, good backup once Alex Smith leaves. Good trivia I have right here. Andy Reid, when he was at the Philadelphia Eagles, when Donovan McNabb was on his decline, he asked the 49ers multiple times if they wanted to trade Alex Smith, and they always said no to him. Now, him and Alex Smith are rejoiced, and you see what they'll be able to put up on this field. Now, DT, I'm going to ask you about this Chiefs defense. What do you think about them?
Like I said this before, this Chiefs defense is great. Cornerback play, very good secondary play. You got Eric Berry, Brendan Flowers, and Sean Smith. All those guys, great players in their secondary. Linebacking core, they got Tom Ali, Derrick Johnson, Justin Houston, defensive line, great defensive line. Dante Poe up the middle had 2 sacks this past week, by the way. These guys can get pressure on you. They can force turnovers in a hurry. Watch out when you play this Chiefs defense.
And it's a very tough stadium to play in. A lot of people are very underrated about the Chiefs and their home stadium. That is a very tough place to play in. And I wouldn't be surprised if they hand the Broncos a loss this year. But
I think the Chiefs. The Chiefs always play the Denver Broncos. Division rivals. They always play them extremely hard. Play them very hard. I think the other year, when Tim Tebow's last year started, they won 7-3. These guys play the Broncos fierce. I believe they're like the main. I believe they're the main threat to the Broncos. They want to have an undefeated season. Chiefs and the Chargers, 2 division rivals.
Now, speaking of teams that won't make the playoffs, let's just go over the list of the teams that made the playoffs. And DT, I want you to give me the teams that won't make the playoffs this year, because usually a team will not make the playoffs again back to back. All right. In the AFC side, you have the Ravens, Broncos, Patriots, Texans, and Bengals, right? Those were the 5 teams that made the playoffs last year.
I think all of those teams make it, except for maybe the Colts.
Oh yeah, and the Colts, the other wild card team. Yes, that was 16.
I think all those teams make it except for maybe the Colts.
So you think the Colts will drop? Chiefs go in?
I think the Colts drop either the Chiefs, Titans, or the Steelers go in.
Wow. So okay, who's going to be your divisional? Okay, let's say who wins the division each year. All right.
Every team that won the division last year, I believe they repeat. I believe they do the same.
So you think the Ravens are winning their division again this year?
I think the Ravens are going to win the division.
I don't think that at all. I think they're going 6-10.
I think Joe Flacco silences any critics that say, "Oh, last year's playoff performance was a fluke." I think it silences everybody. I think they win the division again.
To me, I like Joe Flacco as a quarterback in the playoffs. Regular season, he's average Joe. He ain't going to pass more than 5,000 yards in his career. I like to see him prove me wrong. Till then, he can go back to McDonald's and buy some more chicken McNuggets like he did the day he got paid. Come on, dude. Really? McDonald's? Step up. Go to a nice, fancy restaurant. At least go to Chili's or something. All right. To me, I think Bengals, they're gonna take the division. Ravens, no show in the playoffs. Chiefs come in. Colts, maybe. And I think the Dolphins will be the other wild card team in there. I think they give New England a run for their money this year, and I think the AFC East more than anything is actually up for grabs. I don't
even think the Dolphins win 10 games this year.
You don't think so?
They're overrated. I think they're very overrated right now. They start out 2-0. They win 2 road games. Everybody thinks they're going to take the East and they're going to go to the playoffs and make a run. No way. They don't even win 10 games.
Reason why I say that is because I think the Patriots, and more than anything, this is Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins. If you guys are listening, this is your time of year to step up and try to beat the Patriots because they have nothing to show for on offense. And I think this is your time to take over that division because it's now or never. And I think the Bills may give actually some run for their money too. But
Tom Brady is just that good where it doesn't matter who he has as a receiver, he's still going to find a way to win games. That's why he's the greatest of all time. We're actually going to have that discussion tomorrow.
Yes, we are actually. On Wednesday, we're going to talk about who is the greatest quarterback of all time. I'll give my input. Titi will give his input. But let's go back to playoff teams. Now let's go to the NFC side. And remember, Darius, you can just chime in and tell me if I got any of these teams wrong. Okay, we had the 49ers. We had the Packers. We had the Falcons. And we had the
Seahawks.
That was the wild card team. What was the other divisional winner?
Then you had the Redskins that won the NFC East.
The Redskins.
Let's see. The Bears, Packers, Vikings.
And Vikings. And the Vikings made it.
And the Vikings made it. Got blown out by the Packers.
So
I think all those teams make it again, except for the Vikings. I think instead of the Vikings, it's going to be the Giants.
You think the Giants are going to remember this, DT? The Super Bowl is hosted in New York. Every year the Super Bowl is hosted. Whoever's hosting the Super Bowl, that team does not go better than 500.
I think the Giants still make the playoffs, and the Redskins. You know what? The Vikings and the Redskins are my teams that won't make it. And I think the teams that do are going to be the Bears and the Giants.
Bears and Giants come in. So you have the Redskins. So you think the Giants are going to win that division?
I actually do. I think the Giants, even though they start out 0-2, they win this division. Eli Manning does things nobody thinks he can do. Does things that have never been done before.
He likes to prove people wrong. He loves to prove people wrong.
Okay. He's like the Giants are the team. They like to do things nobody expects them to do, like beat 18-0 football teams.
Upset teams that are clearly have way more weapons than he does. But to me, Packers, I think they're going to be the number 2 seed. I think Seahawks take the number 1 seed. 49ers will be the other wild card team. I really don't know. The other teams I'm going, Redskins out. I'm taking Giants. I can't see the Cowboys doing it. I mean, I see the Cowboys. Yeah, if they win their division, okay, one and done in the postseason. And I go with you. The Bears will be the other wild card team. If I'm missing a team, I'm sorry, but that's all I could remember now. And that's all I have, really. And I think I'm not really doing Super Bowl predictions this early, but Seahawks are taking that. I think the Seahawks defense can run with anybody in the NFL. And the only thing that I don't know if they can run with is the Broncos. And I think if these two teams play like a best out of 5 games, it can go either or. If they play the best out of 5 games on a neutral field site, I think it can go either or. I think the Seahawks would win a game. I think the Broncos would win a game. I think the Seahawks win another, Broncos win another, and then it'll go down to the last game. This is a very coin flip kind of game. But to be honest, I like the Broncos defense against the Seattle Seahawks offense, because the Broncos defense is very, very tough and tenacious. And trust me, this defense gets nothing but better once Von Miller comes back and Champ Bailey. And that's the scary part.
Champ Bailey already a lockdown corner. Say what you want about the playoff game. He shut down Torrey Smith in the second half. Champ Bailey and Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, I believe that is a lethal tandem. Then you have Chris Harris in the slot. That's a scary secondary right there.
All right, now that we're done with this playoff discussion, I think let's have a quick talk about who do you think is an up-and-coming, good GM or a good head coach, that's going on right now. My GM that I like is the Seattle Seahawks GM. I love him and what he's doing there at the Seattle Seahawks, because to me, him and Pete Carroll have a very good chemistry together, and they're bringing in players that fit their scheme. They don't care if they overdraft him. They don't care. You saw what they did with the Carpenter pick in 2011, and also with the latest pick with Bruce Irving. They said they had him at a 3rd-round grade, but Rex Ryan actually was going to draft him in the 1st round, and then Rex Ryan comes out saying, I wasn't really going to draft him. But who cares what big old Rex says? I think all that fat's really going to his head. What do you think?
Seahawks continue to Seahawks continue to bring in all these players that everybody counted out, in college or oversized or undersized players. They continue to bring these guys in, put them on the same team. They just gel together. They produce victories, which is all that matters. My GM, I'm gonna have to go with the Patriots GM. Year in and year out, they find these hidden gems in the draft. They trade out for more picks, and about 2/3 of those picks end up panning out very well.
Yeah, I love what the Patriots do, but I just like the Seahawks. They know how to fit in. players that they like, and since Pete Carroll's, he likes picking up people that he's played against in the Pac-12. He knows what that's all about. He knows what these players fit. I know he may have played against them. He has Golden Tate on his team. He played against Golden Tate for 3 years. He knows what he's about.
Percy Harvin, he actually heavily recruited Percy Harvin. Percy Harvin ended up going to Florida, and he said, I got you now.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Percy Harvin is an explosive playmaker, and I think this would help out the Seahawks offense a lot. Then he has also Marshawn Lynch on his team, which I cannot believe that the Seattle Seahawks got Marshawn Lynch as cheaply as they did.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Buffalo
Bills, I don't know what they were thinking. The guy was like 24, 25 years old.
He was young. He was a young back when they, traded him out. And the thing is, put it this way, I think he's a way better running back than Fred Jackson is. And it's kind of scary to think, what if the Buffalo Bills still had Marshawn Lynch and and CJ Spiller over there? That's pretty deadly tandem right there, I suggest. That's two completely different running backs.
But the thing about that, I think if they have Marshawn Lynch, they win more games. They don't get Marcel Darius, and they don't get Jairus Byrd.
That is true.
Defense probably look a lot more different.
Yeah. Jairus Byrd is a very underrated safety. But let's go teams that are on the rise that were on the bottom of the graveyard. And I'm going to say, I think we both agree on this one. I think the Raiders are on the rise, but, how can you improve better than already the 31st worst team? But I think they move up some spots to me. We really don't have a power rankings, but we could do one, but I think it's going to be very choppy for you guys who we have. We really, we may agree and disagree here and there, but we all agree. The 32nd worst team in the league is
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
We're not even going to go over why they're the 32nd worst team. 31st team, Browns. Let's go 30th team. I'm going to have to go with, I would say the Raiders because I really don't have the list pulled up. But actually, you know what? I'm going to go with the Buccaneers. That team has dropped off immensely. They have so much promise for them on defense, but their offense is just not clicking. And I already made this bold statement. I think Josh Freeman is out after this year.
I think the week 3 is my. Week 3 is the point where I start determining where teams are. A team starts off 0-3, might as well count them out of the playoffs. It's rare teams 0-3 makes the playoffs. I mean, you might as well count them out. I don't care who the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play this week. I think Josh Freeman. I think this entire team steps up before they get to that 0-3 mark. Nobody wants to be 0-2. Nobody surely wants to be 0-3. I think they win a game, and who knows? They can possibly win 5 straight games after that, and they're right back in the playoff race, right back in the top 10 of the power rankings. You never know.
I see that. All right, well, let's just do some quick hits real quick before we go. I'm going to name off a division, and you tell me what's the worst team in that division. All right, DT?
Oh, yes.
All right, AFC East. Who's the worst team there?
East. Wow, I'm going to have to go with the Jets.
Jets, all right. Let's go AFC North. That's Pittsburgh and Cleveland and all them.
I mean, the obvious choice, Cleveland Browns. Let's go AFC South.
AFC South. No. That's Jacksonville Jaguars. Then
AFC East, AFC West, actually.
AFC West. Who do you think is the worst team in that division?
I'm going to have to go with the Oakland Raiders, of course.
But it's a very underrated division because, the Chargers are kind of showing promise, but, it's here and there. They just don't know what a second half is still. Let's go to NFC East, a.k.a. as Jerry Jones says, the SEC of the NFL, please. There's a thing.
Please.
Yeah.
In the words of Ocho Cinco, child, please.
Child, please.
You know what? I'm going to have to go with the Redskins.
They're going to be the worst team?
The Redskins really aren't showing me anything right now. I just don't think the Giants continue to stay in this slump. I think they step it up after a while. This is a veteran football team, 2-time Super Bowl winning football team. I believe they step up. And the Redskins are on a bit of a downfall this year. Cowboys, it's too early to tell, but right now I'm going to go with the Redskins.
I think if they were going to be in the draft and they were going to be in the bottom of the draft, I think they need to get a wide receiver more than anything else. They need a playmaker on offense. I don't think they have one outside of Robert Griffin or Alfred Morris, and that's just a one-dimensional kind of thing with the running game. Let's go to NFC North. Who is the weakest team there?
Vikings, without a doubt, hands down. Quarterback play is terrible. It's time to make a change. Vikings.
NFC South.
NFC South. Got the Buccaneers, Falcons, Panthers, and the Saints. I'm gonna have to go with the Panthers right now. I think Cam Newton's the weakest link in that division. The offense isn't really doing much. Panthers have a pretty good defense. Don't get me wrong, but they're 0-2. I don't see things getting any better for them. They still you got to play the Saints twice. You got to play the Falcons twice. You got to play the Buccaneers twice. You're gonna have to put up points at least 4 times when you go up against the Falcons and the Saints. Offense isn't really doing much.
And as I call it, the real SEC of the NFL, the NFC West.
NFC West. I'm gonna have to go with the Cardinals. The Cardinals are the weakest link right now.
But let me put it this way: all those teams are tough.
Bruce Arians, don't get me wrong. Bruce Arians, the Cardinals very well be a dark horse in that division.
Yes, I love their defense. I love the tenacity of that defense. They improved much well in corners outside of Patrick Peterson. I like the sign of Antoine Casing. He's a very underrated corner that was out at San Diego. He was from Arizona. Tyrann Mathieu, I can't believe people thought he was a 4th-round grade, 5th-round grade. And let me tell you, his off-the-field issues, yeah, they're a 7th-round grade. His talent and the way what he brings to the football field, 1st-round grade. And you saw what he did to Jared Cook.
Oh, yeah, and you know what? Patrick Peterson, seen him on offense, 17-yard pass.
Oh, my Lord. He can do it all. What can they not do on offense? I mean, what can Patrick Peterson not do? Everything. And I think the great signing with Carson Palmer, I think Larry Fitzgerald is happy over there.
Oh, yes.
But I think to me it's a coin flip between them and the Rams. But you know what? I wouldn't. Can a whole division actually go 8 and can a whole division actually not can somebody not lose in the division? Is that possible?
Can somebody not lose?
Yeah, can a team go 500? Can 2 teams go 500 and the other teams have a winning record?
Well, I highly doubt the Cardinals have a winning record. Maybe they go 7-9, 6. I'm thinking more 6-10. Actually, I'm thinking 8-8, but they just might go 7-9. But 6-10 seems more realistic for the Cardinals in Bruce Arians' first year.
Yeah, that's a good predicament. I just wanted to know because I just love this division. I think if you take one of these teams out and put them in a weaker division, if you put the Cardinals, you switch them out with the Browns, done. Cardinals taking that division. But I really don't like the AFC North, as you guys can tell. I threw away the steel curtain. Bye-bye, Ravens. You're also back in the trash can. Browns, you're on the bottom of that trash can. And Bengals, you're kind of creeping and crawling out of that trash can a little bit with those tiger claws of yours. But that's enough today for us. I'm G.
I'm DT. Scarlett Johansson is hot.
Oh, well, of course. Thank you for the obligatory Scarlett Johansson. Everybody go see Don John. That looks like a good movie.
Oh, yes.
But regardless, remember, tomorrow, user-submitted questions, and we answer your questions and shout you out if you want to. Remember to enter the contest. Everybody wants $50, right? Why not enter on our G and DT's NFL Picks podcast contest? You could win $50 to the store if you're choosing. Darius, if you have $50, what store would you choose?
I wouldn't go to a store. I'd go to a restaurant.
Restaurant, huh? You like a gift card? What kind of restaurant do you want to?
I want to go to Denny's and I want to eat breakfast 5 days in a row. I'm gonna get all you can eat pancakes. I'm gonna get sausage and eggs. I'm gonna have a good time.
Right, that sounds like a good plan. I'm actually getting kind of hungry. I think we need to go to lunch. Well, I'm G.
Play, man. I'm DT.
And we are signing off on this podcast.